Hello and welcome to the North Metro SBDC programming.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Diego Leyes. I am a marketing advisor and the Spanish program outreach manager for North Metro SBDC. And today I will be facilitating this webinar for you all. We are excited to have you here for an insightful session with Joel Parriott from the Adams County Workforce and Business Center. Today, we'll be exploring the valuable no-cost services available to employers, resources that can really make a difference for your business. So without further ado, let's welcome Joel. Thank you for being here, Joel.
Thank you so much. I know it's a small group, but I really hope that if you can walk away with maybe some service, some little trick that you didn't know before, I think it'd be beneficial. Usually when I talk to employers, what usually happens is they tell me, oh, well, I knew about the Workforce Center. I just didn't know they did that. So that happens quite a bit. So hopefully I can find something you didn't know we did and make a benefit for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an overview of the Adams County Workforce and Business Center services. Luckily, we have Clelia on the line from Broomfield, and all the services I'm going to talk about, she has at Broomfield as well. And what you need to know is that workforce in general, the American Job Center has workforce centers all across the state. So any employer can walk into a workforce center that fits their region, that's closer to them, or they're more comfortable with, and these services are going to be available in some shape or another. Maybe it's a different form, maybe they have different caps, but these services are available. And like was said, these are no cost services. This is a no lose situation at the very least for you to access and try and ascertain these services and some of these resources. So at Adams County, we like to start with just our mission statement because it's kind of important to us. It's more of a purpose statement. Our mission statement is to help job seekers and employers. So we like to think that the reason we exist is to be a reliable source for security and passionately serve our community. So the people that work for us need to exhibit this kind of passion for helping employers and job seekers. And we hope that we follow the rules, but sometimes we bend the rules because the people we serve are more important than the rules that we follow. So we want everybody to become the best version of themselves. And for employers, that means, are you competitive no matter what size you are? Are you accessing all the tools and resources that you need to be competitive? Again, no matter what size you are, there's going to be some resources that can help you. So for Adams County, we have 3 locations. And like I said, I think there's 90 locations throughout the state that are American Job Centers or workforce centers. But they may be set up kind of like we are, where we have one main office. Our Westminster office is our main office where you're going to be able to talk to a business service representative. But we have career centers in Westminster, Aurora, and Brighton that anybody can walk into, get information, sometimes use the computer, talk to a career service specialist. If you want to send your employees to one of our offices, they can get help on their resume. They can get help on maybe how they can brush up on skills. Maybe they're not looking to get another job, but just brush up on their skills. They can talk to somebody about how to access them. But our Westminster office is where I'm located, and that's where the business services office is located for the Adams County Workforce and Business Center. But you can go to any one of them. So that's a little bit of the lay of the land. So my review is basically comes down to 8 categories of business services, all of them no cost. All of them give you some kind of functionality to be more competitive. And you may have heard of some of these, and you may not have. So hopefully I can give you maybe a new take on how you can access these. I'm going to talk about some work-based learning. That's one of the main ones I think that may interest some of you who are having problems with maybe accessing talent and having funding be something issue. You can't afford to do the onboarding or some of the training. There was a time when, in order to upskill in Colorado, you had to send somebody to a community college. Maybe their K through 12 had to be improved, or a technical college, or some kind of school where somebody got a credential. That still exists, and the Workforce Center can help with that kind of classroom training. But there's a new wave, and I say new, I'll say about 10 years, where there's funding available from the federal government that says some of the best learning happens on site, on the job site, where you guys are doing the training. So we have some funding and some resources that'll fall under what we call work-based learning. That could be internships, on-the-job training, apprenticeships, or what we call incumbent worker training. And I'll get into those a little bit. Labor market information is something that not everybody has access. We have some good access to data that we can give you exactly the kind of data you're looking for. Maybe some employers have a data specialist or a data analyst that they hire to do this. They pay for. We're free. And if at the very least, it's worth asking, hey, can you give me some data on a competitive wage or some demographic information about an area? I'll go over this in more detail, but we can pull a report that's specific to the type of data, the type of length, and the depth of data that you would like. And maybe that helps you make decisions. Maybe it helps you make hiring decisions. Maybe it helps you make a capital investment, right? Or maybe move. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about labor market information. The main thing that people might know about us at the Workforce Center is that, yeah, we do job fairs, and you can post your job with us. And I'm going to tell you some different ways that have changed and been modernized in the last few years or longer that maybe you didn't know about, that could save you time and money and maybe better access the talent that is coming through the Workforce Center and is out there. Job posting is also changing. In fact, we're just going through a modernization project right now that's going to be really easy for you to get your job posted and access talent where you have more control. You're not going to just be looking for somebody to respond to your job posting. There's going to be a possibility for you to actually go looking for somebody based on their skills and what's on their resume. So we're going to talk about connectingcolorado.com. That's our statewide database. And there's, it's like I said, it's modernized, it's user-friendly, and the functionality of it, I think you're going to like. So we talked a little bit about job postings and Connecting Colorado. A couple other things that people don't realize we do workshops for employers. Things like if you might be in the enterprise zone, and if you don't know what the enterprise zone is, just by where you are located, you may be eligible for a tax credit. We can also help people who are, if you're having trouble hiring, we have a training on skill-based hiring that can help you pinpoint the skills you're looking for and not just the credentials and the work experience that maybe you're having trouble finding. We can show you how to search for talent based on the skills that are out there in their resumes. And again, use Connecting Colorado for that. And we also have some panels and roundtables that might help you get more involved in the community. We call that our business education program. Then another program that's been new over the last 10 years is sector partnerships. Colorado has taken the lead on a thing called sector partnerships, where if the industry is struggling, there's ways they can get together, small business, big business, community partners, supply chain, look at the pain points, look at the solutions, share the solutions. And I hate the phrase, but it does fit. A rising tide lifts all boats. If we're trying to, let's say it's healthcare, and we're trying to improve healthcare because we have a common problem, if we can improve the industry as a whole, we can maybe find better talent and have a better industry system. So sector partnerships have a way of doing that, and I have a couple examples that we're involved in and that are involved in the state that you may want to access. So that's kind of the 6 categories I'm going to kind of tap into. So first, some of our recruitment services. So job posting and Connecting Colorado. If you don't know what Connecting Colorado is, it's a database that has 2 sides to it. On one side, employers can go in and post their job, post the requirements, and it's out there for job seekers to come and access, just like probably a lot of job boards that you're aware of. But this one also lets you to go in and you post that job. As soon as you post a job, it'll go looking in the other half of the house in Connecting Colorado where job seekers are with their skills and their experience and their credentials. And it'll send them basically an email that says, a job just got posted that you qualify for. Do you want to know more about it? So your job literally digitally goes looking for candidates that qualify for your job. And again, at no cost to you. And there is a way that you can go in there and manually manipulate who you're looking for. You can look for maybe a specific keyword, a credential, certain years of experience, or certain work history that you're looking for. And you can be very specific and customized on how you find candidates. So there's the Connect Colorado has that employer side of it. And on the job seeker side of it, the people that are posting their profiles, first of all, there's been a kind of misconception that they're all low skilled. They are people that are on unemployment insurance because either they quit their job, they lost their job because of layoff. COVID had a big impact. We had a lot of people come into the Workforce Center because they were laid off to no fault of their own, that were looking for jobs, and they qualify for unemployment insurance. In order to do that, they must register with the Workforce Center on Connecting Colorado. So suddenly employers had access to this huge database of qualified job seekers that they never had before. We're seeing that a little bit now with some of the federal workers that are coming through, and maybe a change in where job seekers are moving to. They're leaving certain jobs and looking for different types of jobs. And if you can access them kind of ahead of the game and not wait for them to come to your job postings or to your employer site, but we can direct them there if you'd like. So that's Connecting Colorado. As a way to just post it, you have total control, kind of a in and out, the minimum really that I think a lot of employers can do in order to get their jobs out there. The other recruitment events that people can access or employers can access, the first one I always recommend for employers is a specific hiring event. Now, I'm going to differentiate between a hiring event and a job fair. An event is when we have just you, and we're going to promote you, your jobs, your benefits, what you're looking for, maybe your mission statement, so we can recruit people to this event that just has you, and you can really specify a targeted skill you're looking for or targeted demographic. So that's an individualized job, basically an individualized job fair that you can set. Hey, I want to be there from 8 to 10, or I want to be there from 2 to 4. You can set that scheduling because we're not worried about other employers having to make the most valuable time for 20 employers. It's just you. Very, very flexible scheduling. And what we found is you can have deeper interactions in a hiring event because it's just you. They're all coming because they have the experience or they're interested in your position, maybe where you're located, maybe the type of occupations that you're offering. And for us at Adams County, what we think we offer as a benefit is our hiring events. We will place you in our lobby. Now so what? Our lobby is the center of the Human Services Center in Adams County, where everyone comes to get all their Medicaid benefits, other benefits, SNAP benefits. So our lobby is constantly full of people looking for jobs, for a change, for support. And so you get not just people that are unemployed, maybe just people that are looking for change, and they walk by your table and say, hey, tell me about this job that you're advertising here. Or you get a lot more walk-through traffic than just maybe an advertised job fair that sends people to maybe a hotel convention center or something like that. So those individualized hire events, we think, have a lot of value, and we think we have a unique situation in Adams County where you get a lot more walk-through traffic. So that's a hiring event. We can set that up on the date you like, on the time you like, and the situation you like. Now, we do have monthly job fairs. And for job fairs, you're looking at multiple industries. So you're going to be in a room of maybe 20 or 30, sometimes up to 50 employers. We have a conference center here at the Human Services Center of Adams County, where we can put a lot of employers in the room, do a lot of advertising, direct everyone to the event. And we've been having some good success lately. And then you're getting a lot of walk-through traffic that way. People, maybe they're searching for something similar and they just happen to walk by and ask you the question. Well, then you can kind of market your services that way. We schedule them monthly, right around the second or third Wednesday of the month, but we do move it around a little bit. This can be a hybrid event where not just in person, we can also do this virtually, and I'll get to that in a little bit. That's been a change since COVID, where if you don't like to pack up all your forms and marketing material and chairs and tablecloths and all that stuff and swag that you hand out and trek it to a facility just to do a job fair, we have a way of doing the job fair virtually where you can sit at your desk, talk to a job seeker, and that we use Premier Virtual is a good thing for you because you can be in a virtual situation like we are now and say, John, I want to talk to you about it. Let's go into a private room. And there's a way in Premier Virtual to move you to a different room. And you could actually do like a one-on-one interview right in the middle of a job fair, a hybrid job fair, come back to your main room and be talking to 10 to 15 people. So there's some good variety for you to choose the way you interact with job seekers. I want to tell you a little bit about a situation that we have with the WICO that says here, Wyoming, Colorado. We have, I think it's 2 to 3 times a year, we do a huge, we just had it completed last week, job fair, virtual and in person. And we do it on the same day with other workforce regions in northern Colorado, north of Denver, Boulder, Weld, I think Larimer is involved, where they all happen the same day. And there's also employers virtually, and we can get up to 1,500. Like this last time, I think we had 1,500 employers involved in a job fair on the same day. And it just generates a lot of buzz. You get to see a lot of job seekers that maybe wouldn't have considered going if it wasn't this big ordeal and big event. So we're kind of proud of our Wyoming, Colorado hybrid job fair that generates a lot of interest to employers. But the premier one is good. You can meet candidates across the whole Front Range because it is virtual. We have people sign on from Pueblo and Grand Junction and all over the state because they're thinking about moving maybe to Denver or close to where we're at. And on a virtual job fair, they can post their resume and you can kind of look at that resume and decide whether or not you want to interview them virtually and not necessarily have to do a resume evaluation on site. So that's our recruitment services, both connecting Colorado and our way to do outreach to these fair or event activities. We recommend these for, again, people who have some time, have a recruiter that may need to go out to an event and market their openings. So those are some of the basic ones there. Any questions? Can't see a hand go up, but see if I can get this thing to move. Okay, the next level. This is where I think it gets into situations where people don't know these services that exist or how they can engage the community in such a way. Sector partnerships is a great way for you to engage the community, engage your community partners, your pipelines, and find out the way you can work together to solve problems or maybe access resources that you didn't know existed or didn't have access to before. A sector partnership is where a group of employers, and we try to make sure we have big business and small business in the room. We have the supply chain in the room. We have community partners. We have trade associations, economic development, chambers of commerce, everyone who might be interested in improving or enhancing how a certain industry behaves and how they react to the economy. For instance, we happen to be a convener of a transportation sector partnership in Adams County because it's a big deal, where we bring in all those employers and we talk about what are the pain points, what's happening in this industry, and what do you guys have access to that works, what is not working, and then as a sector partnership, we can work as a team to either find the resource, solve the problem, work on like a task group that works on how to make a difference, come up with some solution. Sometimes there's some funding involved that we can access, maybe for a website, or I know in our situation, we were able to contact local area schools and get employers in the room with those schools so they can talk about, hey, here's what's happened in our industry. Did you know this? Did you know how much we pay? Do you know the career pathway? And usually what happens is the kids and the school counselors didn't always know the information until they can sit there and talk to the employers. So that happens through sector partnerships. And sector partnerships aren't necessarily led or have the workforce drag you down the road that you didn't want to go down. We try and have the industry meet, and then we back off. We want to be in the room as a resource. We listen and support, but business leads the direction of any sector partnership. It is very industry focused. We just try to be the connection to the resource and help identify any changes and that we can maybe work towards, but it's business led. And we've seen some great success in Northern Colorado and Larimer. They have a situation where they have a manufacturing sector partnership that runs a fair every year just with the sector partnership. And they run a trade show that garners funds and makes money entirely led by business. So that's what a sector partnership is. If you haven't accessed one, I encourage you to do so. We also have some other things that help you engage the community. Roundtables where, hey, what's happening? Just a one-time shot. Let's talk about what's working, what's not working. We want to give some input to workforce, economic development, and maybe the school system so they can build better curriculum, build better services to support our industry. A good example for us was we had a school counselor roundtable for Adams County schools. They sent in their work-based learning and their CTE people. They said, we have a lot of kids that are interested in this. How can we get them connected? So they had a way for us to connect to those employers just through this one-shot roundtable. So that's available. A couple other things we do. Educational workshops is just to inform business of ideas, like I was talking about with the enterprise zone. That's something that a lot of businesses don't know about, and they could be accessing it. But we also have trainings on things that are in the Fair Labor Standards Act. If you're aware of, make sure, how do I follow the laws? How do I make sure I'm not getting myself in trouble or following the Fair Labor Standards Act and maximizing my business? Maybe it's how to recruit. Maybe it's how to market, how to use SBDC, how to use the SBA. We try and inform businesses of things they didn't know about and connect them to resources through these workshops. A good example of that for us is we have a skill-based hiring workshop that teaches employers how to market their job postings and do their job interviews, not based on credentials and experience, but on the skills they're looking for that might open up the number of job seekers that are available to them, and then how to make sure they're unbiasedly searching and interviewing those job seekers to find the best candidates. And we do a workshop on that. This is a national program on skill-based hiring. I think it's outstanding. So we like to do that quarterly. So that's an idea of kind of a workshop that we do. We also have employer panels. Again, if you want to get involved in the community, a panel is a good way if you want to sit side by side with other people in your industry, or maybe something you care about, and talk about, hey, here's what I'm seeing, job seekers. Here's what you need to do to get to contact, to get in connection with me. Here's what I'm seeing that maybe we can work on something for the future to make a difference. An example for us is that we had Get Hired events where we had job seekers come to a virtual room, and they talked about what they're seeing. Why can't they find a job? Do they feel like there's ageism or youth issues or connection to the court system issues? And the employers can answer those questions as a whole, and they can really, again, get down to the root of some problems and come up with solutions that helps the industry as well as help job seekers. That's a really good way to get involved. So those are our sector partnership and business education services. Do you have any questions? Okay, am I going too fast? I've always told that I would talk too fast. So if I do, let me know. I used to be on radio. That was really bad. Okay, money. Here's a service that a lot of the employers don't know we have that can really help you fund some programs that maybe you're trying to get up and running. Maybe you have a training program or an internship program that maybe costs you some money, and how you're going to be able to run it, but you know it has some value. Is there a question? Okay, thank you. So here's some things that have some money attached to them. Again, like I was saying before, there's school-based training, and there's employer on-site in the work environment training. And we think there's some good connections that happen here that can complement classroom training. So the first one I talk about is internships. You may see it called different things around the state, a work experience, or subsidized employment, but basically it's an internship where you have a body come in and you train them, and you make no commitment to hire. You're just committing to train them. Maybe you're working on improving your curriculum on a training program, or maybe you just want to train youth. You have a program, maybe it's part of your mission statement to get involved in the youth or veterans, or maybe you're looking for any kind of special demographic group that you're trying to have an impact on. Build up an internship around it. It'll be like a 3 to 4 month internship placement. You get a body. You get somebody doing some work, helping you get some work done. Now you are committing to train that person. So at the end of that 3 to 4 months, they walk away upskilled. They have more skills than they had before. They can slap on that resume to go looking for a job. Now you may use that as a 3 to 4 month job interview. For 3 to 4 months, I trained you up. I didn't commit to hire, but you know what? I think you've learned some great skills. We do have an opening. And even though maybe you don't have 5 years experience, you only have 2, but now I know what you can do. I want to take you on and hire you. It's a great way to find candidates at no cost to you and no risk, because in the middle of that work experience or internship, you can decide this isn't working out. I can't afford the supervisor to do the training, and you can end the internship. The best case scenario is, right, you train somebody up, and now we have somebody contributing to the economy. You've improved your training program, and maybe you can find it through a internship program, meaning you have maybe somebody new every 4 months, every 5 months. Sooner or later, you're going to find those candidates that you know more about than just by posting a job and hoping they respond. You've trained them up on your area, on your software, on your way of doing things on a computer, or whatever it may look like. An internship is a great way to do that. Again, no risk to you. The next one I want to talk about is on-the-job training. This type of training has been around a long time, usually in construction, but it's being adapted in other industries and to a lot of benefit. Here, you are making a commitment to hire, but maybe you've had trouble hiring for a certain occupation. And what we're going to say is, if you have to do extra training, extra onboarding, extra anything to get that person up to speed, let us help you with that. We'll pay half of that person's salary, basically for the first 3 to 4 months. So you have the half price employee during what is the most difficult time to have an employee on board, right? They're not totally skilled. You're taking another maybe staff member, training them or watching them or monitoring them. Let's help you pay that. And the way we do that in Adams County is like right now, there's different caps of funding levels. As soon as that person earns 10,000, we would reimburse you 5,000. So like I said, there's no loss, no risk. You have all you're risking is you're having time set aside to train this person, but you have a half price employee for that time that you are committing to hire. They're on your payroll. They are on your W-2 I-9 stuff. But now, like I said, you can kind of, with a clear conscience, spend time training them, knowing that they're not costing you as much. And then we think with that in mind, and with the workforce center on board, helping. Maybe they need help with childcare, transportation, shoes, equipment, and maybe that's getting in the way of them being fully trained. We can support with those kind of funding things for the job seeker while still reimbursing you for the training that you've provided, and make that on-the-job training situation a win-win-win for everybody around. So that's our on-the-job training situation. And for that one, if you really can't find anybody for a certain occupation that's a critical occupation, come talk to us. We'll see if we can't find a candidate for you for that. You don't have to take our candidate too. Maybe you have somebody in mind. We call those reverse referrals, where maybe you have somebody in the entry level and they don't have all the skills, all the credentials they need, so they need some extra training. Come back to us and we'll help you train that person up. And that's going to be an incumbent worker training. I'll get that in a little bit. So that's internships and on-the-job training. Apprenticeships, I want to specify, registered apprenticeships are a great way to do both those things. There's going to be classroom training and on-the-job training where they get the credential and they get the skills you need because you help train them up. The person's earning money and they're going to be a part of what is a United States Department of Labor approved credential. So what we encourage employers with this is, if you have a good training program that maybe other employers also need that type of skill trained on, you partner with them, or maybe you partner with, like for instance, in Adams County, you might partner with Front Range Community College, or you might partner with Red Rocks Community College to devise a curriculum. You submit that to the U.S. Department of Labor. By the way, we help. We'll walk you through it. You get it approved, and now you have a way of giving a job seeker a credential that is, like I said, going to be a widely used, industry recognized credential, and you have a pipeline of people coming to you for this credential because you're part of a registered apprenticeship program, and the federal government is funding a lot of what we call RAPs, registered apprenticeship programs in general. So it's a really good way for an employer to kind of upgrade their training program into a registered apprenticeship pipeline of candidates. And there's a industry in the state Apprenticeship Association, the SAA, that can help you get your training program off the ground, get it turned into a RAP program, and you'll start seeing the benefits right away. We have 4 or 5 employers that just every quarter, they have a cohort of up to 10 to 15 people that come through us, and there's an assessment process, and then we find out if they're eligible for a funding stream, and we can tell them whether or not they're going to be funded for, like I said, equipment, tools, uniforms, and things like that. But it's a good way to develop a pipeline. It's really the best type of work-based learning. I love those programs when I get into a situation where I can create pipelines, because they just help long-term. The last one that's work-based learning that I like to talk about is incumbent worker training. And I kind of touched on this earlier. And for this one, there's two ways you want to access incumbent worker training. If you have a situation where, man, I'm going to have to lay off some people because I don't have the skills here to grow. So I'm not making money. I can't afford to train all these staff up that are in the entry level position. So I'm going to have to do layoffs because I can't afford it. And then maybe it's keeping you from growing, it's keeping you from doing some capital investment. Incumbent worker lets us step in and say, give us your entry level people, and that you want to turn into the next level. We'll pay for whatever training they need to get that credential, that experience, and now they're qualified for that next level, as long as you're making a commitment to consider them and move them up to that next level. Then that's an incumbent worker. They're already working for you. We'll train them up and upskill them so they're more valuable to you. From our point of view, we think if you're more competitive and you can grow quicker, you're going to be better for the economy. So we have some funding set aside so you can upgrade your current workforce and be more competitive. This helps you invest in your own employees, not just, again, waiting for the talent to come to you. And it opens up a pipeline for your entry-level employees if they know you're part of an incumbent worker training program as a way for them to be upgraded. Doesn't come out of their pocket, doesn't come out of your pocket, and we can maybe pay for that training as long as we know training is happening. So all these you see are pretty exciting. There's funding involved that comes out of this federal dollars set aside for these earn while you learn programs that we have under the umbrella of work-based learning. And we can be flexible, maybe a little bit of internship that turns into an on-the-job training, or an incumbent worker training that turns into a registered apprenticeship. Let's work with you to find out if we can turn those situations to benefit you. Any questions? Okay. Last one I want to talk about is labor market. The employers just need data, right? Decisions can't be made on a hunch. You need the data to show why we make decisions. What decisions should we make? And the Workforce Center has access. In fact, I have access to data here at Adams County, but we actually have a team serving on the state that is the Workforce Intelligence Data Expert Group, we call them WIDE, that can really dive into some details of the data that helps employers and industries and the economy make the best decisions. These are just some of the examples, but hopefully it triggers an idea like, oh, if I knew that, I could make that decision, or I would love to be able to share that with my board or my trustees or whatever. So demographic data, who's out there, what age, who's leaving? Do you know the 65 and over population and that maybe has your jobs? Are they leaving? Are you losing some knowledge because of the demographic data that's out there? This is a way to identify that. We can tell you wage trends and employment trends, what's growing, what's in demand. We'll keep a good eye. When I say cost of living and GDP, we can tell you the last 10 years and an expectation going forward. So those are good data sets to have in front of you when you're making decisions. One of the most basic types of labor market information we give is just an industry or an occupational snapshot. Here's what's happening with medical assistants in Adams County. How many are there? What's their wage? What's their demographics? Are they growing? Is it decreasing? How has it changed the last 5 years? What do we expect for the next 5 years? We can also say, what employers are hiring for those positions. So you might be involved, you might be included in some of that data. We can cluster industries. Well, not just, let's look at manufacturing and construction and transportation. What is that cluster of employers doing or industry doing? And we give you that kind of data. One of the most requested pieces of data that we get is what is the competitive wage? We get this with employers, especially if they're moving into Adams County or moving into the state. They have an idea what they want to pay for a certain occupation, but we can tell them, well, this is what people with that experience, that job title, and those skills are getting paid. So you want to know that you can still attract talent by paying a competitive wage. This might give you some insights in wage trends. Maybe you've been going along at a 5% increase, 5% increase. Maybe the state is going on at 7%, 8% increase. You want to make sure you're keeping up, or at least know how to adapt to those kind of changes. Demographic changes are good for what the entire labor market is looking like, or maybe DEI considerations. Again, if you have a mission or an objective for your company, maybe to hire more veterans, let's give you those demographics so you can find out where they're at. Or concentrations, this is good for community data. Are we a bedroom community? I've always been told that Adams County is a bedroom workforce center community, meaning they work in Centennial or they work in Boulder, but they all live here. But you want to know who they are and where they're coming from, so we can give you that community data as where does people live and where's it going down to. And we have ways of breaking that down, not just by Adams County, but maybe by cities, even in some cases down to zip code. I can't promise that, but there's some zip code data that we can pull. So again, I talk fast. I think this is a lot of information for you to take in. But I'd love to see what kind of problems you're having that maybe the Workforce Center or one of our resources can help you with. I'm the business services supervisor at the Adams County Workforce and Business Center, but I stay in touch with the business services departments in all the other regions, including Columbia there in Broomfield, Jefferson County, Boulder, Denver, Arapahoe, Douglas. There's no competition in workforce centers. We share information quite a bit in order to benefit employers. And let's say you're located in Fort Lupton, which is just outside of Adams County, but you have more connection maybe with Adams County. We can work that out. We serve you even though you're a Weld County employer, or we can work it out sharing services, maximizing services, wraparound services, those kind of things. are available to us. And yes, I will send out this presentation to everyone, including if you want some other stuff, just a breakdown of the other services that we have available. But does anybody have any questions? Can I ask what kind of problem is there issues that you think that you wish the Workforce Center would handle? Maybe let's start there. Or could have. Market and intern at the college level. We work with Front Range Community College and Metro State, and the way we work that out is we talk to the college students about what they're looking to do, and we can give them a foot in the door by doing those work experiences. Again, we pay 100% of the salary for an intern for 3 to 4 months. So that helps them as they're either graduating seniors from colleges or from community colleges, or graduating seniors from high school. We've worked with that level. We have a youth program, and every Workforce Center has it, that goes down to as low as 14 to 24. And in school or out of school, with a high school diploma or a GED or not, we can help those people. We have youth that are in, for instance, foster care, disabled youth, that we can fund them to learn skills. And again, in some of these situations, you're making no commitment to hire, but boy, you're exploring how to train. You're exploring maybe the talent that's out there that you never thought about exploring because maybe it was too expensive to try, right? And if you have an idea that, oh, I wish the Workforce Center could do this with youth and the internships, take that back to us. Let's see if we can't work something out. Any other has anybody ever thought about a sector partnership? Is anybody involved in a sector partnership? If you think your industry is having a problem, those are a good thing to try. So contact myself or whatever region serves you. That's good. Yes, we can schedule one-on-one. Send me, maybe Diego, if you want to send my email to them, I can schedule one-on-one, and we do a needs analysis. We can talk one-on-one about what are you going on. We look at your critical occupations. We look at how you're hiring, where you're posting, and what service we have that can help, or what service you need that we don't have. And then we connect you with those partners. We're very tight with economic development. And in Adams County, I have 8 different economic development partners that I work on that all have services to help out business. One of my partners, by the way, is SBDC. Again, I apologize if I talk too fast.
I have a question, Joel. So
Sure.
who can get access to that data? Only employers or job seekers as well?
So that's what the thing is. Employers can access this, or job seekers. Okay. So, and it's interesting that you should mention that. I always talk about work-based learning options and these services as far as employers, because I'm the business services supervisor, but a lot of job seekers like to know, what is your schedule for job fairs? What can you pay for an OJT? I'm interested in an internship. How can I access your program? So I think that's what's great about having this no cost, because we don't charge a job seeker a dime to explore these ideas, and we don't charge an employer a dime. But we have these ways of exploring how to upskill both job seekers and make employers more competitive by giving them options of talent in different ways, rather than just posting their job and hoping that people apply. I hope that was what does anybody think you're going to be able to access? I could just schedule one-on-one, but does anybody else think that they're going to try and access a workforce service, or just kind of curious whether or not this information is interesting to your group? Okay. Sounds like I got one-on-one, at least one-on-one in the future.
So does anybody have any other question, comments?
No, I think this is great. I'm really excited to get involved, and especially when it comes to you helping. I'm in an industry that people either make it or they don't. So just having the ability to do an internship and take some of the cost off of our shoulders is fantastic.
Yep, that's the goal. We want to remove as much risk from employers as possible, and all of it if possible. And we've had employers that 3 weeks into an internship, nope, this isn't working out. What we do is remove the job seeker, and then that becomes, okay, let's help the job seeker find another internship while we still go back to the employer and say, let's get you another candidate. Let's find another way to serve you. So there really is a no risk for you. I can't see the way that an employer takes any risk. That's the goal. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate being able to come on and talk to this group.
Awesome, Joel. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We hope you found this information helpful. A big thank you to Joel for sharing his time, his expertise with us. So I think if there's no any more question, I think have a great rest of your day, and we hope to see you in the future. Okay. So thank you, Joel, again.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Take care.
Bye.